5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good night, good day, goodbye, hello, wherever you are in the world, one of those will apply to you. This is LTID TV from Leicester Till I Die. It's Tuesday, it's 7 o'clock, it's Crackerjack. I've still got my crackers. I don't know whether Craig there has he fallen asleep?
Yeah, I'm just posting it out to my 2 followers.
Oh, yeah. Well, I hope both of them join us.
Yeah, me too.
Welcome on. It's City Chat. The third time name change this season, but hey ho. I am the Watford of the show titles. Happy New Year, Craig.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you, Chris. Happy New Year to everyone who's watching. Yeah, same as it ever was.
It
same
is, isn't it? Right, New Year, same shit, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering what to talk about on this show because nothing's basically happening in the old transfer side, other than everybody we're being linked with seems to be going everywhere else, and half of them aren't even wanting to come to us when they've got a choice. So it's probably not going to be the happiest of Januaries. Rumours of a PSR coming back to bite us on the bum. But I want to talk to you about this gentleman here. I'm not sure how this is going to work or not. I don't know if that's going to be too small or whether we need to go bigger. How small?
I mean, I thought you could have done you and him as steptoe and son, to be honest.
I was trying to find a suitable picture. What I'm going to do, because I think that's going to be too small when we actually get to the there we go, we'll make it that way. That's a bit easier to see when we get to the figures. Look, the question I'm asking is, and I am not saying that he is, before anybody starts getting their knickers in the twist, I asked the question on the post-match. Now, obviously, when we do the post-match reaction, it's straight after the match. Feelings are a little bit frayed, shall we say, depending on, what we've done, how we've played, etc. But I did ask the question, is Vardy past his sell-by date? And not the fact that he's shit, blah, blah, blah. But he's 38 in 4 days' time, and he is our number one choice up front on his own. We and how many years have we said, Craig? Oh, we're going to have to get used to being without him.
Yeah, true.
True.
I think. Yeah. I'll go on. You finish
No,
before we.
You carry on, mate. You carry on.
No, I can say as you've put there, or are we? Or his teammates letting him down, or successive managers not playing him, to get the best out of him. I think the last time we saw prime Jamie Vardy was going back to, obviously, when we won the league, and then a few seasons after that when he won the Golden Boot. And then beyond that was when he was playing as part of a 2 with Iheanacho.
Yes.
which meant that the load on him wasn't as much as it is now. And it's not necessarily a thing of him being past it. I'm not sure that he's up to the job that needs to be done by a lone striker. I don't think we're helping him out at all by asking him to be a lone striker, particularly in a relegation battle when you need to have outlets up front to stop the ball coming back to you. And I think that's the biggest issue that we've got. As I said to you off air, there's a lot of stats that I've got around, and stats don't tell the whole story, but it does say a lot about what we're asking of individuals and how those same individuals are being criticised because we're asking them to do too much on the pitch while others seem to be coasting.
Now, I did actually, when I put this link in my Facebook group, I did actually turn comments off because I thought all I'm going to get is just abuse and people coming back with...
and that's just from Rebecca Vardy.
Exactly. She knows when she's onto a good thing, allegedly. But Andreas here has come up and said, no, he has not. Stop talking rubbish. And this, I think, is the problem we've got with Vardy, is that we don't criticise him.
Mm-hmm.
The other season, last season, everybody was having a go at Daka, and in fairness, quite rightly as well. But when Vardy had a bad game, we can't criticise Vardy. No, it's Jamie Vardy. The sun shines out of his arse. And look, we love him at the club. There should be a statue for him. And if he came in here now, if he, I'd bend over and have his children. But there comes a date when everybody has a sell-by date.
Mm-hmm.
Are we still going to be playing this guy at 50 and saying, like, why isn't he scoring? Why isn't he doing this? Why isn't he doing that? Because you remember, and I think it's a dad thing as well. I look at my daughters and they're 25 now, but I still say the 10-year-olds.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same with players as well. You look at them and you remember them when they're at their peak, and it's hard to accept that they are. I mean, Andreas goes on to say, in fairness to Andreas, he'll get the goals, if no doubt about it, Chris. He has goals this season and he will get more. I mean, no, you say again, to me, Andreas, you're just saying, look, it's Jamie Vardy, he's going to score. He's got 6 goals this season. You could argue on one side he's our top scorer, but then on the other side he's got 6 goals. It's but let's just go through some other comments. Joe missed a couple recently, but was there to miss them. Missed a couple recently, but was there to miss them. As long as he gets there, he will score. Oh, I see what you mean. Yes, yeah. But he isn't. That's the thing. He's not hitting the target. He is 50% of his time he's getting caught offside. The old Jamie wouldn't do that. The old Jamie wouldn't fluff his lines. How often do you hear a commentator going, "Oh, the old Jamie Vardy would have put that away," and you'd expect Jamie to bury that. As it ends up, next to Jeff Slupp's collection of balls on row double Z. Vardy, as Tommy says here, Vardy well past this level, but you ain't got many options. And that is the other point as well, is that we've done this with Mahrez. We're trying to bring people in to replace him that aren't as good as, but we're leaving it too late, 90 minutes isolated, not so effective, giving good supporting as they're still sniffing 20 season. Just don't tell Forrest that. Let's get Chris Wood back. We let him go because he wasn't particularly good enough. And say no more. Happy New Year, LDH Reno. Vardy's better than 90% starting number 9s in the Prem. We don't have a single passing central midfield, centre defensive midfielder on this team, which is a point we're going to come to. He was laughing at something. Ray's got his blinkers on. I think so a little bit as well. Geordie's in. Hi, Geordie, mate. How are you doing? We've got to start planning for life. We have. That is the point. Now, let me go through the stats, and we will. And the stats aren't there to prove my point. The stats are just the stats I've put up, and some of them will prove the other way. But we'll come back to comments when we've done these stats, and we'll quickly just talk through these. This is our forward line: Ayew, Vardy, Edouard, Daka, and Dakova Reed. They're all listed as forwards on our website. You've also got other players listed as forwards like Mavadidi and Fatawu, but I don't count. They're not forwards. These are the guys I count as forwards. Average age of over 30. It's got to be one of the oldest average ages for forwards in the Premier League. And like I say, in 4 days' time, Jamie Vardy is 38. How much longer can he go on? Whoops-a-daisy. Shot shy. That's how many shots. And again, this is in defence of him a little bit. And the teams in gold are the teams that are in the relegation battle with us. We have made less shots than Southampton, who have scored the least number of goals in the in the league. Now, don't get me wrong. I've taken this off one website. Another website might say we had 162 or whatever.
I've got exactly the same. I haven't got the exact number, but I've got us in last place as well, Chris, from what I saw.
Yeah. That's not going to keep us up. We're not going to score goals if we're not having shots. And the number of times I've seen us as a team this season go forward, Christensen especially, and then, where do I go? Nobody's up with me in the box and has to come back. If we then look at shots on target, look, we're bottom again. 37 shots on target in 20 matches. 39 for Southampton. Ipswich, in fairness, have only got 30. I think I got that wrong. I think that was 39 as well.
Yeah, I've got us as 19th.
I could therefore have got that one wrong. So 30. So more than Ipswich, but obviously they're making, getting more points with those. Right, these are the shots while Steve Cooper was manager. Against Palace, we had 9 shots. Against Everton, 12. Again, in red are the teams that we were competing against. Against Arsenal, we had 5 shots compared to their 35. If we're not having shots, how the hell are we going to score goals? Bournemouth, we actually won that game. We had 6 shots, 19 for Bournemouth. We actually had more than Southampton and we had more than Ipswich when we played. But again, Notts Forest, 11 shots, 1 on target. Is that a Premier League team where you put it out and have 1 shot on target? I'm sure probably even Luton were doing better than that. But you're thinking, don't worry, Craig. Got a white knight coming over the hill. Ruud van Nistelrooy. He's an ex-striker, He'll sort out the striking problems. No. Against West Ham, we had 8 shots. And we won this damn game somehow. We had 8 shots to West Ham's 31. That was a record, if I remember, the number of shots by a team in one game in the Premier League. Brighton wasn't too bad. Newcastle, 4 compared to their 27. Wolves, we actually managed to have more shots than Wolves. Still lost it 3-0, but then you could argue that's the defence. Man City, we didn't do too bad against. Villa at the weekend, 4 shots, 13 for Villa. Is it any surprise we're losing games? And this kind of backs up, when we say we're not having the shots, this kind of backs up that we're not giving the support to the players that are up front. Goals scored. This was before the Liverpool, Man United and Wolves, Nottingham Forest games, because to be honest with you, I couldn't be bothered to update it. I did this over the weekend. We scored 23. So we're not actually bad. We're scoring the goals, but they're obviously coming from... Even Wout Fraser's got a goal this season. That doesn't say. Now, Vardy's heat map. That is Vardy's heat map from the Aston Villa game. What the bloody hell? And our goal is on the right. So they're attacking the goal on the left as you look at it. So there's that big block. Look, in the defending, I look at that And again, is he being let down by his managers? Is he being asked to come back and get the ball? And if he's doing that, then he's like you say, his sprinting days are possibly behind him. That doesn't impress me as a striker's heat map in a Premier League game.
I'd say, Chris, I'd say on that looks to me like we've given away a lot of corners. And because that's where Jamie is. That's where Jamie stands for corners and then breaking away. And we've not had enough play in the final third for him to be there.
No. But don't you think that if we're taking a corner, you need Vardy on the halfway line?
Oh yeah, I think 95% of fans would say exactly the same. But that's not him. That's where he's been told to stand. So I think that heat map is a little bit skewed based on what the team achieved rather than what he achieved individually.
But again, that to me backs up a little bit of the manager's not playing to his strengths.
Oh, I agree fully. Yeah.
Can we have a look at Daka's heat map for the Villa game when he came on?
Mm-hmm.
Now, he's a striker, is he not? A forward, whatever you want to call them. Why was he not in the bloody box any time at all? Why is Daka taking throw-ins, for fuck's sake? He should be, I don't care, maybe he's got a fantastic long throw. I don't know. You see him at the matches. I don't really see it all on the TV.
Obviously. He has, by the way.
He has.
He's got the longest throw. He has been deployed to take long throws.
So, but when we go back to Harry Kane taking corners for England.
Yeah.
Yes, he may have a long throw, but hang on, don't worry, Craig. Look, we'll get Daka doing long throws, but you know what? We'll put Wout Faes up front. He might get us a goal. Or Vestergaard, because he's good with his head. Vestergaard, isn't he? He scores loads of goals from corners and what have you.
What I'd ask there is, did he come on for Vardy or to play with Vardy?
He was on at the same time, wasn't he?
Yeah, which tends to be when he brings him on at the same time, he tends to play him in the hole rather than alongside him. So that's the position he takes up, more of a 10 to then try and get up in support. So that in itself doesn't surprise me.
It's still not working though, is it?
Well, we're bottom of the table almost. Yeah, we know it's not working.
Yeah,
but what I'm saying is this is down to the majority of this is down to the two managers plus his teammates, and I would say for both of them, because that's where Daka's been asked to play. And the same with Vardy being asked to come back for corners.
We'll have a look, because this is a bit embarrassing. Again, 20 games in, and the top goal scorer's got 6 goals. But there you go. Vardy, we would be in the shit without him. You know, I'm not disputing that. But 6 goals, Buenette's got 4, even Ayew's got 4. And even Dakova Reed's got 1. Bloody hell. And Ndidi second with assists. And it's a bit embarrassing. When was the last time Ndidi played? And yet he's still top of the assists chart.
Not only, Chris, is he top of the assists chart, and this again tells more of a story about what's going on behind the strikers. He is still second in the overall number of tackles made this season.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Behind Christensen. Christensen has made the most tackles in this team. Second is Ndidi, and he's not played for the last 6.
I mean, I'm going to ask you this question then, and then we'll look at some comments. Have we employed the wrong manager?
Not necessarily. I think that's too early to tell. I don't think so, but I think. I mean, 2 things. I mean, you had 3 options. 1, you stuck with Cooper. 2, you went for an old hand because I'm not sure there was lots of other options. Everyone else was going to be untried. And we went for the 3rd one, and we went untried, untested, but somebody who'd got a bit more of an aura around him. And if I remember rightly, when we did a show around when Cooper had got sacked, the majority of people wanted Van Nistelrooy of those who were mentioned to take the job anyway. Exactly. So you, and I think Kate was the same, and I think I'd gone for Potter, which I was called out about.
But then again, don't read anything into that, because I was quite happy with Cooper. So, I mean,
but I think what he hasn't got the team right yet, and I know that's an obvious thing to say, but for me, the three sections of the team are just too detached from each other. When teams work well, and I hate to say it, but you've got to give kudos to Forest this season. Forest are the closest team to us when we won the league that there's been since we won the league. Yes. They've got the least possession, but what happens is the three sections of their team, the defence, the midfield, and the strikers, are all on almost like on a piece of string.
Yeah.
So when one goes, they all go. What happens with us is our forwards go and our midfield sit and watch them. That happens too often. So the ball breaks down. There's not enough players up in support, and it comes back again. And what we've got, slightly off topic, the other stat is that the biggest chance creators in our team and those who put the crosses in are the fullbacks. Christensen and JJ are the most forward-thinking players we've got in our team. So they're being asked to do a forwards job and then getting crucified for not doing their defensive job and getting caught out of position too much because they're not being helped. And that's where the manager's got to find a solution to it that gets the best out of all these players. And sticking with this rigid system that they've got at the minute, for me, isn't working. It should be 3 centre-halves, 2 wing-backs, whereas those 2 defensive mids, who we'll come on to, Winks and Samari, Jesus, they can sit there with the 3 centre-halves and create a barrier of 5 rather than doing nothing and then the 2 fullbacks getting exposed. That's slightly off topic, but it does support the fact that Jamie or Daka or whoever it is not being played to their strengths and they're not getting the support from behind them. And when you're in a struggling team, whether we like it or not, when the ball goes up, it's got to stick. And that's where I would say Jamie doesn't give us what we need at the minute. You look at someone like Delap at Ipswich, when the ball goes up, it more often sticks and then the rest of the team can get up. The biggest issue that I've got with Jamie at the minute and Daka is they don't hold the ball up well enough, not necessarily do the wingers, so we don't get up as a unit. And I think that's where Jamie falls down a bit. If you play to Jamie's strengths, you put the ball in behind, he's still as good as he ever was, I think. Create chances, and I still think he'll get more than his fair share of goals. At the minute, he's on the same kind of percentage of goals to chances as he was in the season after we won the league. So, you know, he peaked then and he's coming back down, but he's still a goal scorer and he can still lead the line if he's helped. And I think he's isolated at the minute, and he's not only are we not giving him the best tools to do his job, he's not great at doing the job that he's been asked to do.
Well, what I'm going to go through now is a list of Vardy past his sell-by date and we're going to look at the ors, if you like, you know. First of all, let's just get up with some chats here. Prasad, hi all. I think Vardy is still relevant, but adding to yours and Craig's point, he needs support. Another striker is needed. How long have we been saying this? He'll be 90 before we let him go. Look, that's Leicester. Like I say to you, Wayne Rooney was scoring goals in the Premier League at 16, but if he was at Leicester, he still wouldn't have broken through now. Michael says needs 6 more players. Is that a Clarkson Vardy mashup? No, it's not. It's Jamie Vardy and just aged with the system thing I used. Do we need a target man up front? It's a very good point. Emil Heskey style striker, or more recently Crouchy. The loss of KDH was bigger to our team than Man City losing Rodri. KDH has KDB numbers last year. And now Kane's in. Hi, Niall. Liam, but then if we're using that info about shots, then surely it isn't Jamie Vardy's fault. If not it everyone in team. I think I know what you mean there, Liam. Surely we have to judge Rude if and when he buys any new players. All very, very, very valid points. Like I say, I'm asking the question and I'm putting it out there, playing devil's advocate, as is my job here. But let's have a look at the past his sell by date and I think we've probably touched on a few of these already. Vardy past his sell by date, or does he need to be used in the two up front? Not that it will ever happen, but would that help him?
I think it would help him, and my personal thing with the players we've got, as I said, I would be playing 3 centre halves and 2 wing backs, and asking our wing backs to provide the width rather than the wingers that we've got, who are a little bit too hit and miss for me at the minute. Which means you can play the likes of Kanouse and Buonanotte in behind Vardy, but closer to him, and that's the problem. We play 3 up front, but the 2 wingers are so wide. We haven't got midfield players who then go and support. We've not really had that since the days of Is It or KDH. Got chipped in with enough goals, but there's not enough. He's isolated too much. So for me, if you ask the wing backs to the fullbacks that we've got at the minute to do what they're good at, they're better at getting forward and delivering rather than defending, because their awareness of space is what's wrong. And because you're playing just 2 centre halves, they can't come out to fill the space. If 3 can go either way and fill in behind a fullback or a wing back. And I think if you ask the wing backs to provide the width, you've got 2 players who can sit in behind Jamie, and then he's got the support rather than just a straight 2, which probably doesn't work, because then you could end up with 2 isolated. But you've got more of a connection between your defence, your defensive mids, then you've got your 2 sitting in front of Vardy, and I think it's more of a connected unit than we are at the moment. I think we're just detached and there's too much space to play around us.
Yeah. Liam says there, so it's to do with the team, not his sell by date. I think what gets me is that we're afraid to criticise Jamie Vardy because of who he is and because of what he's done. We cannot say he got that wrong. Like I say, last season, Daka was the shittest striker ever put on this planet. That game against Bristol City when Jamie missed 2 sitters and a third. Oh, it's not Jamie's fault. No, it's Jamie Vardy. He can't do any wrong. Just having a bad day. We have to learn to criticise these icons. And don't get me wrong, I love the guy, but we have to learn to criticise him, and we have to learn to ask these questions. Because if we're not saying that he's coming up to his sell-by date, as somebody's just said there, will he still be playing when he's 90? Oh, we can't get rid of Jamie Vardy. He's the best we've got. We have to ask these questions. And talking about a 2 up front, do you remember Tony Cottee?
Of course I do, yeah.
Yeah, of course you do. Of course you do. Of course you do, Malcolm. I remember him saying that, because when he joined us, he was, you could argue, past his sell-by date, but he was knocking the goals in, because what he did was he let Emile Heskey do all the running for him. And he admitted this. He said, Emile Heskey does the running. All I need to do is basically be in the position for him to pass me the ball to put it in the net. And are we coming to that point, like I say, and we're not going to play 2 up front, because every bloody manager's got their head up Pep's arse so far they can see his tonsils. And we must play this way. This is the way we've got to play. Just 1 up front. No. That season, Iheanacho, he's the worst player ever. When he was playing 2 up front that season with Jamie Vardy, he was the club's top goal scorer. Scored more than Jamie Vardy did, because they work well as a team. Have we got to bite the bullet and say, look, we need goals. We ain't going to get them with 1 up front. Even if we put Messi up there, he wouldn't get goals in this team. Are we looking at the fact that we need 2 players? Look, we bought in, who was it that we bought in? The oldest player to ever score for Leicester, Kevin Phillips.
Yeah.
He got 1 goal all season. So you can't just bring players in and say, they've got great names, so they're going to do well. We got to get that back up to that mentality of having 2 up front, helping each other out. One can drop back and come and get the ball if needed, but then he's always got an outlet.
Yeah, again, for me, I think that three, if you've got Jamie there, if you've got El Canous and Buonanotte doing all his running, because they're busybodies, busybodies in that 10 role in and around Jamie, causing havoc. Because they've both got quick feet, they attract players to them as well. So a defender centre half has to come out, 2s and 3s have to come out and play with them, which releases Jamie, will give him more opportunities, I think. Because what happens at the minute, and I get really frustrated with Jamie. I used to play up front, and your role, particularly when you were the only one left up front, if your fullbacks were under pressure down in their own corners, you had to make the run out wide to be the out ball, and he doesn't do that. He never does it. He rarely leaves the centre circle. The only player I've seen stay in that centre circle too much, more than Vardy, is Steve Howard against Man City, where I don't think he left it. I think he had a tag on or something, but he wasn't allowed to leave the centre circle. But for me, that is a much more solid thing, and we get to focus our attacking intent in and around the box rather than putting it out to wingers who we then haven't got enough people in the box to supply anyway. It doesn't work. If you're playing out and out wingers, you need to flood the box with your midfielders, and we don't have those players who want to do that. So that's how I would do it for me. Put in a much more stronger structure, similar to what Pearson did when he changed it for the Great Escape season. We started playing with wing backs. We were much more effective, much more solid, and we created chances. We scored goals.
Yeah, no, totally. Seems as though why can't they play two up front? We've just discussing that very point at the moment. Somebody else said earlier, looking at the stats, has Vardy's chance reduced since Fataru's injury? Look, the way I look at it with Vardy is a striker. He's our goal scorer. I don't care how often he gets back and puts a defensive shift in. I don't care how many assists he gets. What I'm bothered about is how many goals he's scoring, how many times he's getting caught offside, and that's too many at the moment. How many chances is he missing? His job, doesn't matter what else he does, his main job as a striker is to score goals. The interesting fact is here, and I'll throw this one, and I'm interested to get your thoughts on this, Craig. If we are saying, and that was one of my other points, that he's being let down by his teammates, which we've touched on. If we're saying, well, it's not Vardy's fault because we're not giving him the support, should we not be saying then, well, you know what I mean? It wasn't Danny Ward's fault he was rubbish because the defenders in front of him weren't doing their job. It's got to work both ways, hasn't it?
Yeah, up to a point, and I think that's valid. I don't think any goalkeeper, throws goals in. They become a scapegoat. They're an easy scapegoat if you don't like them. Stolarczyk was at fault for the Man City goal, but he got barely any stick for it.
Yeah,
Ward would have been hung up by the nearest tree.
Yeah.
You
say that Leicester fans love a scapegoat? Oh, Craig,
yes, they do.
Controversial.
But you going back to that point about as Jamie's goal scoring chances dried up since Fatawu has been injured. Interestingly enough, over the whole season, if we look at crosses into the box, Abdul is still third on the list, even though he's missed a big chunk of the season. He's put in 30 crosses in the games that he's played in. The highest is Mavididi, who's put in 34. So he's only put 4 more crosses in than Abdul. The biggest one here for me, because Steffi's put 34 crosses in, 7 of them have found their target. 7 out of 34. Abdul was 6 out of 30. Victor Christensen, 31 crosses, 16 found their target. He's by far and away our most accurate creator of chances as well.
Maybe we should
You know,
play
and
him
that,
instead of Mavadidi.
this is what I'm saying. If you're playing three centre halves, you can allow you to have wing backs who can get forward more and are not having to worry and get caught out of position. And that's what's happening this season. The two next on the list is JJ in terms of the crosses. You know, not either of the other creative players that we've got, like El Canus or Buonanotte or whatever, or the wingers. It's the fullbacks. The fullbacks are being asked to bomb forward and get crosses in, and then getting blamed for leaving huge gaps behind them. So, and I'm not defending bad defending. I'm not doing that. But what I'm saying is, you're asking them to do the job, and you're not helping them. But they're good enough to play as attacking wing backs that'll actually get forward, and we do. As you said, you know, we're the lowest for number of shots. You know, we just don't take shots either. We have tricky players who don't want to shoot. There's a lot of things that need to be put right in this team. There's a lot of things, which means there's a lot for Rude to work on. You know, if everything was right and we were still getting beat, you know, then there's a problem. But yeah, three at the back, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
United TV, hello mate, how are you doing? Happy New Year to you as well. Obviously he is a Man United fan there. Welcome along, mate. Rich, how you doing? I want any of our Deadwood in the January sales. The funny thing is that I did put a post up, and I love this, the humour of football fans. But I put up a post, and it was like, Ruud van Nistelrooy saying, I'm going to use my Man United connections to get some players in. And somebody commented, oh, for God's sake, just when you thought it couldn't get any worse. I thought that was a brilliant comment. Well, we wouldn't have, I'd have had Maguire back, Rich, but you went and bloody extended his contract, didn't you? There we go. Well, you know, just think, Rich, you could be worse. You could be a Leicester fan. Armchair says three at the back. Three at the back is the key to our future success, I think. The real Vardy is totally finished. Leicester City fans are just playing the name. I've got to say, I wouldn't necessarily argue with that. I think that's a very, very valid point. Ray, how many crosses had King Lord Protector A? Can I just say, Ray is a hater. And you know what we're just saying then about fans hate a particular player? Ray hates Ayew. If Ayew went out and scored a hat-trick against Manchester City, he would still hate Ayew and say he didn't do much, he did this wrong. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, and that's Ray's.
So conversion rate, let's throw that. That's while I'm in stats mode.
Yeah.
Conversion rate of chances. Vardy 20.69. Ayew 21.05.
Right, there you go, Ray. There you go.
Daka 33.
Yeah, I mean, fairness to Daka, he hasn't been on the pitch long, has he?
He hasn't, but he's got a higher conversion rate of chances.
That's for you. But no, it's a good fact, that. I mean, I must admit, I'm with Ray. I don't like Ayew on the wing. I really don't. And I would not have dropped Buonanotte to put Ayew on. But look, Ruud seems to like him. I think Ayew is the guy that you come on, bring on at the end, up front, like against Southampton, when he's going to get you fouls, break the game up, etc. I've lost it here. Let me just try and find this. Armchair Jockey, still the best striker we have at the club and likely to have. Again, you could argue, Armchair, that yes, over a period of time he has been, but we're not looking, and we can't afford to take the last 10, 20 years and do an average. We're looking at the here and now. But the point that the Armchair makes there is, and I've written down here, best of a bad bunch. And when you look at those options there, Ayew, Vardy, Edouard, Daka, Dakova-Reid. If Vardy is injured, and he does still, his name on the team sheet does still count for something with the opposition and the Leicester fans and his teammates as well. Take Vardy out of there, that lot wouldn't scare the bloody tea party in a primary school, would they?
I'm not allowed to talk about primary schools, Chris, and on air.
I won't tell anybody. I won't. Nobody watches this, mate. Don't worry about it.
But yeah, we don't have a forward line that scares people apart from Vardy, but neither do many of the other teams down at the bottom. I mean, West Ham haven't got a striker who'll scare anybody. Yet there are a few places behind us. Palace have Mateta, who, when he's on it, is a good player, but he's not been great at the minute. Southampton, I don't even know, to be honest. Ipswich have Delat, but they play a different kind of football. They use him differently than we're trying to use Vardy. And that stat that you talked about right at the start about the number of times Vardy is offside comes with his age, because a lot of the time he's still trying to play on the last man. And how many times do we delay the pass? That's the biggest problem. You can watch games and being at the ground as well, you see a lot more than the camera picks up.
You do.
So you see runs that are being made, and you get so frustrated when the ball isn't played. It's unbelievable. And it's not just Vardy. The wingers, the midfielders sometimes try and make deep runs from deep. And you think, just play the bloody ball. And it's this obsession with, almost like if you score a goal with 10 passes, it counts double. It doesn't. Again, hark back to Forest. Forest are playing the way we used to. Be tight at the back, make the most of your chances when you get them, and play as a team. And we're still too disjointed. That balance is not right. The centre two in front of the defence don't do enough for me. Let's just pull them into it while we're at it as well. Tackles from our defensive players. Winks has made 16 tackles this season. 16. Morsey, similar player at Ipswich, has made 40 tackles. Our best tackle stats are from the fullbacks again. And I know they're defensive midfielders. I know that. But Winks, touches or final third passes, Winks is quite high up there, 148. But we are third bottom of the whole lot for final passes into the final third of the pitch. Samari, a lot of people are liking what they're seeing from Samari at the minute. I like him, but he is, at the minute, the ultimate Emperor's New Clothes. Chances he's created this season. Have a guess, Chris. How many chances Samari has created this season?
Well, I'm guessing from what you've said that it isn't going to be very high. Yeah. I'm going to go single figures here, actually, because he didn't play for the quite a few games at the start.
What single figure would you choose?
I'm going to go 5.
You've overshot it.
Who knew?
3.
Who knew? 3?
3 chances created. 1 chance per 247 minutes of football. He's played 1 through ball. I mean, I know they're defensive midfielders, but he does the same job as Ndidi, yet Ndidi gets forward more. We can't afford in the formation. This comes down to the formation. It's not necessarily them. It's the formation that we're asking players to do. If you're playing a back 4, then your 2 have to be the extra men who get forward as well. If you're playing a back 3, they can sit back and let the wingers, the wing backs go. But we've got to be asking more from these. So they're not creating chances and they're not tackling. So what are they doing?
Yeah, 100%. It's going to be interesting at the end of the season because Kieran Maguire at Ipswich, and I really hope Ipswich, obviously not at our expense, but I really hope Ipswich stay up. It's a great story, and I love. It's like everybody hates me, especially Michael Gamble, who was in earlier, hates me for saying I really hope that Forest get into the Champions League. That's not the fact that taking aside that they're our biggest rivals, etc., and we hate them. Of course we do. But it means that a Chelsea or a Man United or a Man City or one of those hasn't made it into the Champions League. They are doing what we did. And we've got to remember the support and love that we got from all the other teams when we won the Premier League. And I think we have to give that back sometimes. But I'm going to say here, and again, we brought up on, I've got 2 more points. So the second one here, is he being let down by the managers? As soon as Brendan Rodgers came in, he suddenly got, and in fairness, Claude Puel as well, when he first came in, they both suddenly straight away got a tune out of Jamie Vardy.
They did, but I think we're now seeing the results, the adverse results of what Brendan Rodgers did to Vardy. And I made a note of it. He's never got back to the levels of when Brendan told him to conserve energy. Brendan told him to do that. Conserve energy. Don't make runs that you don't need to make. Just sit in the middle, stay there. Don't go running around all over the place. And that's the Vardy that we've got at the minute. And that's not the Vardy that's going to do the job that he's being asked to do at the moment. So I think he is being let down. I think there's this fixation of playing a single player up front rather than saying, as Forrest are doing, what's the best way of playing with the players I've got? And that's what he's doing. But the majority of the football fraternity at the moment, and the guy at Southampton was the worst one of all, I've got a way of playing. I'm going to force my players to play that way. So tactics and formation and a style of football comes ahead of the players that you've actually got at in your possession. In no other way, in no other form of life do you do that. No other form. Right, I've got to change a plug. Let me go and get a spoon. It just doesn't happen.
Have you never unscrewed a plug with a spoon in your life?
Well, probably. I've probably done it with a knife. But you get my point.
I understand exactly what you're saying, yes.
And this is it. This is why people are being let down. And what Forest are doing are showing that there's more ways to be successful, just as we did back in the day. There's more ways to be successful at football than playing the same as everyone else. The 2 best teams at the minute for playing to the strengths of their players is Forest and Newcastle.
I don't know if I actually finished what I was saying before, because I think
sorry, Mike.
No, not you. I think I went off on a tangent when I was talking about Ipswich, because Ipswich have gone down the line of, right, we're going to buy young players like Schmodic and a few others, and Cooper went, no, I want experience. And it'd be interesting to see at the end of the season which of those comes out on top. My last one of my past his sell-by date or moments is he now only really up to being the super sub? Is he the sort of player? And I've been saying this, oh my God, I've been saying this from Brendan's last season. There will come a time when Jamie Vardy, we know he can, yes, he's doing the 90 minutes, and God love him. I can do 90 minutes a year, let alone 90 minutes a week. Just ask my ex-wife. Did I say that out loud? I think I did, didn't I? But you can tell he's physically tiring by the end of the game. Well, depending how many runs he's made, of course. And quite often he is substituted. But again, it's always like for like. Let's take Vardy off and put Daka on. It's like, well, let's take one non-swimmer out the water and put another one in and see if he can swim. You've got to actually change the formation. A Daka that comes on 75 minutes would scare the opposition more than the Daka that's on from the start. Would you agree, or would you disagree?
I'm a little bit on the fence here, but it depends again if you're playing to their strengths. If you're going to play to their strengths, then for me, you play Vardy from the start, because you would only bring him on if you're chasing a game. And if you're chasing a game, the opposition are set in. There's no space in behind because they've shut up shop. They've won the game. They'll just set up. So where does Vardy? You're not playing to Vardy's strengths there. At the start of a game, when teams are pushing up against you, there's space in behind, so you utilize it. and you utilise him properly, then that's where he can do his danger. So it's a tricky one for me, because what we haven't got is the right kind of people. You know, you go back to, I would say the last one we had, Slimani, who we didn't utilise, would have been an ideal option for us, either off the bench or to start. And before that, Leonardo Ulloa.
Oh God, yes.
Who could hold the ball up, you know, and bring others into the game, and that's what we haven't got. That's not Jamie's game. He may have improved a little bit, you know, because Brendan asked him to start doing that, but that's not his natural game. His natural game is playing on the shoulder and playing in behind. So if you're going to play him, ask him to do that. Don't ask him to hold the ball up and bring other players in. That's where you need a Slimani, an Ulloa, Delap, how they've got, you know.
Yeah.
And when you're in a relegation battle, that's what you need. You need the ball to be at the other end and held there, not coming back wave after wave.
Or a Heskey.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, he's on the sideline very often doing his TV work, slipping a pair of boots. You know, I think what we're coming to do there, what I've sort of got from this then, is that basically we're not playing to the strengths of the players we've got. And I said this before. I said, you know, when you come in and look, Rude's come in and he hasn't. And am I worried that we're 7 days into the transfer window and nobody's signed yet? Yes, I am. You're not, obviously. You're shaking your head. I am.
Who signed? No one signed anyone. It doesn't happen in the first week these days.
West Ham have sold one, and they might not even have a manager by tomorrow morning. You know? Yes. But look, I know there's the arguments about you know, we've got to find the right players, blah, blah, blah. But look, we've already seen, as I was talking before, 2 players that have turned us down. One of those, Ben Godfrey from Atlanta, wanted to go to Ipswich over Leicester. What does that say? You know?
I mean, I got to say, I haven't seen that reported.
No, well, so I have. I have, you see. That's why I was saying it. But apparently we're linked with this French striker from Marseille, I think it is, Brazier. I mean, hopefully, you know, those rumours will hold up, and you know, we'll give him the support, and it'll help us to win a few cups.
You know what, Chris? You just want him to be linked. You know, even if that trail went dead, you would keep that alive for the rest of the window, just so you can get your gags in.
That I love the fact that people are going. People don't click on the links if I put a link in the in the post when I put them up. Because one woman went on and went like, "Who is he?" And David was a reply going, "I think it's a joke." Fact of no, it isn't. Well, yes, there were jokes, but he is an actual player. And I just thought I'd make a joke and maybe get a few titters. Sorry, I boobed there. I won't do it again. That is all my Brazier jokes gone out the window.
It's your job though to keep us abreast.
Hey! Do you have? I don't know if you've ever seen any of the CBS. I think it is where you've got Micah Richards.
Chris's bullshit.
That's what I should have called the channel. That would have been a great
CBS.
But there's Kate Abdo, Thierry Henry, Mika Richards, and Jamie Carragher. And I mean, it's a great. I see like the clips on it, and they were talking about Brest in France, and they banned.
I have seen that one. Yeah,
seen that one. That is funny. Right. Talking about playing to strengths, then. And I asked you this before we came live about Mr. Daka.
Yeah.
Now, he's a striker, is he not?
He is, Christopher. Yes.
Well, when you've got a striker, do you not want that striker to potentially be in the box on the end of any sort of throw-ins, long throw-ins, something like that? You know, a bit like Kane used to be for England when he was in the box on the end of the corners. Oh, he wasn't, was he? Taking the corners, wasn't he? Yeah. Mm. Apparently, you did say he has a long throw, but my God, let's put Daka on throw-ins and let's have Wout Faes and Luke Thomas and everybody else in the box. I mean, it's bloody stupid, isn't it?
Up to a point, but then your alternative is how many headers is Daka going to win? You know, when a ball's put in the box.
As many,
I mean,
probably. In fairness, as many as Vestergaard.
Potentially, you're right. Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that are wrong that I think can be put right within the squad that we've got, with just one or two additions to solidify it. I mean, I don't think we're the worst squad. You know, I don't think we're one of the worst 3 squads in the division. They just need a little bit of help and hitting on a formation that works, just like Pearson did when he got us out of trouble. Same players, different formation, and it was a totally different outcome.
Yeah. Right. Very quickly then, moving on. The management, as you can see there. Do you know we have still not yet got an assistant manager at the club?
I mean, well, no, I know he's brought in his assistants. I mean, in this day and age, what is the role of an assistant manager? I think an assistant manager was in the days where they had an assistant manager and they didn't have a coach for left foot corners, right foot corners, a coach for throw-ins, a coach for 5-yard passes, and a coach for long passes.
And you should mention that we're going to have a look at everybody's job in a minute. And I've got to say, should I be worried that the guy that I very often see Rude talking to is the guy who was part of Steve Cooper's lineup and took over for the Brentford game? You know, I mean, like, really, this is the sort of guy you're asking advice for?
But I think since then he's brought in his goalkeeping coach, hasn't he? Who's a bit more of an all-rounder coach, and then he's brought in the guy who took over from Maresca at Man City with the under-21s. I think he's brought him in as well.
Oh,
Let's have a look, shall we?
Let's have a look. Here's one I prepared earlier. One for the Blue Peter fans there. Yeah. So, Roy van Nistelrooy is our first team manager. Jelle ten Vuvala is a first team coach. Brian Barry Murphy is a first team coach. Ben Dawson is a first team coach. Andrew Hughes, first team set piece coach. Danny Alcock, goalkeeping coach. Matt Reeves, head of fitness and conditioning. Dr. Simon Morris, head of medicine. Well, let's forget Dr. Simon Morris, because he seems to be having as much luck as Harold Shipman when it comes to keeping people fit and well. But look at how many coaches do you need? If we've got 3 first team coaches there, are they all going to be singing off the same hymn sheet?
You'd have thought so, wouldn't you? I mean,
you'd hope so.
It smacks of too many cooks, doesn't it?
It does. That was my point. You stole my line there. Too many cooks, definitely 100%. Like, you know, how many first team coaches do you need? Back
in the day, and I know we're of an age, so back in the day, but you go back to Pearson and Shakespeare was probably the last double act. You know, a manager who could bore the players out, and then the assistant manager who would be the friend. And you know, the good cop, bad cop kind of thing. Yeah. And now you've got one cop at the head who tries to be good cop and bad cop, and then you've just got 5 or 6 police constables just prowling around, holding balls. Yeah.
More than you find on the normal British high street on a Saturday night.
I don't know. We just complicate, you know. We've done it. It's happened for the last 20 years. We just complicate a really, really simple game.
You think we complicate it. We're going to complicate it even more now. Those are the main staff. And I've got to say, for me, that does smack of too many cooks. Here we go. Right, we have a first team physiotherapist, a first team masseur, a first team masseur, a first team masseur. Fiona there. I bet there's a queue outside her door and not outside Robin Rubens. We have a team sports scientist. We have an assistant first team sports scientist. We have a first team strength and power coach. We have a first team strength and power coach number 2. We have a first team performance analysis. We have a second first team performance analysis. We have a kit manager. We need one of those. And we have the first team player liaison officer. All right, again, the bottom 2, we can forget those. I get their jobs, and the top one as well. Do you need 3 masseurs? All right, you could argue that, I suppose, but a team sports scientist and an assistant team sports scientist, strength and power coach, 2 team performance analyst. I mean,
yeah, but to be fair, for the 2 first team performance analysts, that is basically Pete saying that was shit, wasn't it? And then Matthew saying, yeah, it was.
Yeah, exactly.
That's their jobs.
The idea of an analyst is to look at figures and to come up with a conclusion from them. Yeah, we could be given. Look, we've proved it tonight. You can take stats and figures. I can read one thing into that, and you can read it, and you can come out with completely the opposite. So why have 2 that are just going to... to my mind, get rid of half of them, and we could probably afford to take on another player.
Well, yeah, it depends. It could be that we are a club that likes to embody giving everybody a fair chance. It could be that 2 of those 3 masseurs only have one arm. So therefore we need them.
Sorry, as long as one's got a left and one's got a right.
Exactly. I'm surprised we haven't got a boot tire upper.
I'm surprised we haven't got a fluffer. Do you know what a fluffer is? And I didn't know this until a gentleman I work with applied for this job. He was of a certain persuasion, but apparently in the adult film movie world, a fluffer is the person who goes round making sure that the men are up to the task.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a few jobs I'd like, not that one.
No, but I'm surprised you've not got one of those. It's just bloody ridiculous, isn't it? It really, really is.
This is the whole thing, though, that football has changed beyond all recognition. And, the players are too looked after. It's too much. Where's the responsibility of the players in all of this, in looking after themselves? For me, players should have to look after their own boots. We have a kit man and a boot man. They're the tools of your trade. Look after them yourself.
Just things like that to do it. That's how they used to learn, wasn't it?
Exactly, but just put some responsibility back on the players. Everything is taken away from the players. Their only job is to go and play football, and they can't even do that particularly well.
No, Andrew says here, and I think he's getting 2 double acts confused here. Clough and Robertson. I think it was Clough and who was it?
Oh, it was Peter
Taylor.
Yeah,
Peter Taylor.
It
was the one that I was going to say. Actually, was Martin O'Neill and Robertson.
Yes, yeah,
they were amazing. Like you said, I just think these days it's just stupid. But look,
too many voices,
That's more our management at the moment.
That's where your fluffer comes in.
Indeed. You remember Billy and Johnny, don't you?
I do, sadly.
Yeah. And do you remember the stonk?
Even more sadly, yes. Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
No. We wouldn't get out. Craig, look, whatever we sit here and talk as fans, whatever will be, we don't have any influence whatsoever at all. I remember at Christmas I was with my nephews, and one of them turned around and said, "Do you think any of the Leicester City players actually watch your shows?" I went, "I bloody hope not." But the thing is, the clubs do keep an eye on it, and that's the scary thing. They do know all the channels out there, and they do know what's on it. Craig, thank you very much, young man.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Nice to be back.
It's been an interesting discussion. And you're going to be joining us for a second show every week when you're available. On a Friday night, you're going to be joining me for the preview.
It will be, Friday at 6, I think. That is in the Crackerjack slot. Yeah,
it is. Bring your cabbage. Is it cabbage?
Indeed.
Yes,
it was a cabbage. Yeah.
Yes, it was. Yeah. No, it was 5 o'clock, wasn't it, Crackerjack?
Yeah, it probably was. I was just trying to fit it in with our actual time because people will get confused.
6 o'clock, everybody, on a Friday, and you'll be doing your pick and mix. You'll be picking. We go back to this. You'll be picking your team for the match. Do stay online because I just want to have a very, very quick word with you about that when you come up. But thanks very much, mate. I will see you on Friday. Great to have you on as always.
Cheers, mate. Bye, everyone.
Take care. Bye, mate. There you go. There, that's Craig. He'll be back on Friday. We'll be back on Thursday with the Prediction League. Yeah, I had a very, very good Christmas. I'm actually, Craig, if you're listening, not far behind you. I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you, Craig Bird. I'm coming for you. No, it doesn't work, does it? I will see you Thursday at 7 for that. Thanks very much to everybody that's been in the chat. Look, it is just a debate. Everybody's got opinions. Football is all about opinions. That is why we love it. I will see you Thursday at 7. Take care, everybody. Good night.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.